Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are strapping in for a really necessary descent into George Orwell's final novel, 1984.
A book that landed on June 8th, 1949. And, well, it feels like it just gets more and more relevant.
It really does. It's become this kind of barometer for political paranoia, hasn't it?
Absolutely. You see it every time. Whenever there's a big real-world event about mass surveillance or, debates over alternative facts,
the sales just spike.
Immediately. It becomes the instant touchstone for talking about truth and how it can be manipulated.
So our mission today is to really pull apart the terrifying machine of totalitarian control that Orwell built.
This fictional superstate, Oceania.
Exactly. We're going to get into the mechanics of it, the surveillance, the weaponization of language, and the destruction of objective truth.
Which all ties into how that word Orwellian is used and misused so often.
So to start, let's just establish the world we're in.
Okay, so our main character is Winston Smith. He's a low-ranking member of what's called the Outer Party.
And he lives in London.
Well, sort of. It's been renamed Airstrip 1. It's just a grim province of Oceania now. And everything is run by the party under this omnipresent, almost mythical leader, Big Brother.
And that grimness, that bleakness, it's a feature, not a bug, right? Orwell creates this brilliant, cynical foundation for it all.
The structural necessity of perpetual war.
Right.
The world is just locked in this constant, grinding combat between three superstates, Oceania, Eurasia, and Eastasia. And this isn't a war to be won.
No, it's a war to be maintained.
Exactly. And it serves two really essential functions for the party's survival.
The first one feels obvious. It's political. Perpetual war justifies this incredibly repressive security state.
Of course, it convinces everyone that constant vigilance, the thought police, giving up your liberties, it's all absolutely necessary because you're always under threat.
But the second reason is, I think, even more chilling. It's economic.
It is. The war is designed to just consume surplus resources, all the manufactured goods. Because if the population ever got comfortable, if they had enough to eat in leisure time, their minds might start to wander.
They might start thinking, questioning, rebelling.
Exactly. The party intentionally keeps the masses right on the brink of starvation. It stops any kind of intellectual energy from building up. Political resistance becomes a luxury nobody can afford.
If you're just struggling for your next meal, for that horrible synthetic gin, you just don't have the mental space to think about revolution.
And you see this reflected in the class system. You have the inner party, the outer party, that's Winston's class, and then the proles.
And the material differences are huge.
Oh, massive. The inner party officials, like O'Brien, they live in clean, comfortable apartments. They have real coffee, real sugar, wine, and their elevators work.
It's a different world, but there's a trade-off.
A huge one. That material comfort comes at a staggering spiritual cost. The inner party is under the most intense ideological microscope.
So they have things, but their minds are on a razor's edge.
Constantly. They have to show absolute, unquestioning belief in a doctrine that is always changing.
And then you have the proles.
The 85%. They live in just abject poverty, and they're kept sedated with gin, the lottery, pornography, all turned out by the party.
But what's so fascinating is that the party actually watches them less closely.
Right. And why is that? Because the party just sees them as unintelligent, subhuman almost.
They believe any real revolution could only come from the middle class, from Winston's class.
Someone who has a conscious memory of a different time. The proles are just, ignored. They're left to their own devices because their distractions keep them from ever posing a real threat.
This all leads us to the psychological control, the ideology of the party, which is called ingsoc.
And its slogans: war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength.
The ultimate paradoxes. And this is our introduction to doublethink.
Yeah, and this goes so much further than just lying or hypocrisy. Doublethink is the actual mental practice of holding two contradictory beliefs in your mind at the same time.
Knowing they're contradictory.
And believing in both of them, because the party tells you to.
It's the mechanism that makes the whole government function. The ministries themselves are inversions.
We mentioned the Ministry of Peace, running the war. Then you've got the Ministry of Plenty, managing starvation.
And the Ministry of Love, which is, of course, the Center for Torture and Re-Education.
The whole world is a deliberate, functioning lie.
And to maintain that lie, you have to control reality itself.
Yeah.
Especially the past.
Which brings us to Winston's job at the Ministry of Truth. He's effectively an historical negationist. His whole job is to rewrite old newspaper articles so they match whatever the party's current narrative is.
And the old versions, the original records?
They go down the memory hole, a literal chute to an incinerator. The physical evidence of the past is just gone, vaporized.
This creates the concept of the unperson.
A truly terrifying idea. An individual whose entire existence is just wiped from the record, excised from history.
Winston himself has to erase people he knows existed. He erases these former leaders, Aronson, Jones, and Rutherford.
He even held a photograph that proved they were innocent of the crimes they were executed for. But he has to destroy that proof and destroy their very existence from the record.
So it's not just that they're forgotten, it's that they literally never happened. The party understands that to control the future, you have to control the past.
If the party says 2 and 2 make 5, then 2 and 2 make 5. If it says a person never existed, they never existed. That becomes the truth.
And this total control of thought and history, it extends to the very structure of language itself.
Which brings us to Newspeak, a fascinating and truly terrifying linguistic experiment.
It's not just censorship.
No, not at all. It's an artificially restricted language based on what they call Old Speak, or English. And the purpose is spelled out really clearly in the appendix of the book.
The goal is to make any anti-party thoughts literally unthinkable.
Yes. By eliminating the words for concepts like freedom, or justice, or revolution, future generations won't even have the mental tools to form a dissenting idea.
How can you demand freedom if the word doesn't exist?
You can't. And the mechanics are brutally simple. They simplify the language radically. Root words are both nouns and verbs.
So instead of thought, you just have think.
Right. And nuance is gone. Instead of excellent, you say double plus good. Instead of quickly, you might say speedwise.
And it creates its own vocabulary for self-policing.
Like Crime Stop, which is the ability to unconsciously stop yourself from having a dangerous thought before it can even fully form. An automatic mental filter.
And my personal favorite, duck speak.
It's brilliant. It means to speak automatically without thinking, just quacking out the party line like a duck.
And it can be a compliment or an insult.
Exactly. If an enemy does it, it's meaningless noise. If an ally does it, it's high praise.
Yeah.
They're speaking with perfect unconscious automaticity.
So Newspeak is the internal control, but it works hand in hand with the external pressure.
The thought police, and of course the telescreen.
The telescreen, the ultimate symbol of their power. It's a two-way TV in everyone's home, in every public space.
It is centralized, imposed terror. It's always on. It can see you, it can hear you.
The book says it can even pick up your heartbeat.
It does. So you never ever know if you're being watched, which means you have to assume you're being watched all the time. It forces constant self-censorship.
But if we connect this to our world, Orwell's vision of surveillance is actually quite different from what we face today.
Very different. He was describing a specific, visible technology enforcing state terror. Today, we live in more of a technology surveillance nexus.
It's what you might call diffuse surveillance.
Exactly. It's less centralized, it's more subtle, and crucially, it often has a voluntary element.
We don't have one big brother. It's more like 1,000 little brothers. We have government agencies asking for social media handles on visa applications, but we also have private companies like Google and Meta collecting vast amounts of data.
And our smartphones. We willingly carry these personal surveillance devices that can be tracked even when they're turned off.
It's fascinating because the psychological effect can be similar. In 1984, the terror is forced on you. Today, we often trade our privacy for convenience. We broadcast our own lives.
But that feeling of being perpetually watched is still there. It can still lead to that same self-censorship, even in a democracy. The source is different, but the chilling effect can be the same.
So let's turn to Winston's attempt to escape that watch, his doomed rebellion.
Winston really represents that internal, emotional, human reality struggling against the party's collective identity.
His rebellion is very private. It's about memory, privacy, and love. His affair with Julia is this huge sexually rebellious act against the party's rules.
And Julia's philosophy is interesting. She believes that grand political movements are pointless. She thinks the only way to rebel is through small, secret acts of disobedience, cheating the system where you can.
And they try to create a sanctuary, a rented room above an old antique shop.
Owned by a Mr. Charrington. They think this room is safe, a little pocket of the past where the party wouldn't bother putting a telescreen.
That's their fatal mistake.
Their hope is what destroys them. Mr. Charrington is revealed to be an undercover agent of the thought police.
Of course he is.
And there was a hidden telescreen behind an old picture the whole time. The party allowed the rebellion to happen, just so they can watch it, understand it, and then crush it completely.
So Winston is captured, sent to the Ministry of Love, and this is where the book's core philosophy is just low bare.
He's tortured, yes, but not just for punishment. The whole point is re-education. It's about conversion.
And this is where O'Brien, the inter-party official who pretended to be part of the resistance, takes over.
He explains the party's true, terrifying philosophy. They don't just want you to obey, they demand you convert internally and psychologically.
He tells Winston that past totalitarian regimes failed because they never went far enough. They didn't seize complete control of the mind itself.
O'Brien makes it crystal clear. The party rejects the idea of an external objective reality. Reality is not outside. Reality exists in the human mind and nowhere else.
And since they control the mind,
they control reality. He tortures Winston, not to get a confession, but to force him to accept a paradox. If the party says 2 + 2 = 5, then it is 5. And you must believe it and forget you ever believed otherwise.
And that's when O'Brien delivers probably the most terrifying line in all of literature. He explains the party's ultimate goal.
The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power.
No higher purpose, no utopia, just power for its own sake, forever.
The party wants to destroy all other loyalties, to family, to friends, to lovers, so that the only loyalty, the only love, is for Big Brother.
And this all culminates in Room 101.
Room 101 contains the worst thing in the world, whatever that is for each specific prisoner.
For Winston, it's rats. A cage of starving rats about to be strapped to his face.
And faced with that absolute personal horror, he just breaks completely. He screams, "Do it to Julia, not me."
He betrays the one person he loved. That's the end of his humanity.
The annihilation of his internal self. His soul is now empty.
And he's released, psychologically neutered. The book ends with his final submission. He loved Big Brother. The party has won.
Which brings us back full circle to that word, Orwellian.
Right. We see it used for everything now. A social media company takes down a post and someone calls it Orwellian.
Or, traffic cameras. People will say that's Orwellian, but that's a misuse of the term.
It's much more specific than just general authoritarianism.
Exactly. The core correct meaning of Orwellian relates to a tyrannical government's effort to police thought by specifically manipulating objective reality. It's about using language, Newspeak, and Doublethink to force you to abandon what your own eyes see.
To abandon your own memory.
It is the forced submission to the idea that 2 + 2 can equal 5, and you must not just say it, you must believe it. That is what's truly Orwellian.
It's an incredible book. The concepts it gave us, Big Brother, thought crime, unperson, memory hole, they're just indispensable tools for analyzing power.
It really is an essential text, a lasting literary warning about how power works through the control of language and memory.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's worth thinking about a classic comparison. Orwell's vision versus Aldous Huxley's in Brave New World.
Two very different dystopias. Orwell's future is controlled by inflicting pain. Power is a boot stamping on a human face forever. Control through fear and force.
Whereas Huxley imagined control would be achieved through pleasure, through conditioning and drugs, leading people to love their servitude, control by seducing people into compliance.
So the question to leave you with as you navigate our world of diffuse surveillance, endless distraction, constant fights over what's real, which method of control do you see as more dominant today? Is it the boot or is it the seduction? That's the question to mull over.